Many people may confuse the punch list with the easy part of the project, but it's not. And if you've been in this business, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The punch list often feels like 20% of the project that actually takes 80% of the effort. What's up, everybody? I'm Brandon Lindsay. I'm a builder, a rehabber, and the founder of the Rehabbers Playbook. We help real estate investors and builders level up their projects with real world training, tools, and community. And today, we're going to be talking about something that is well misunderstood, something that can absolutely kill the joy of this business. That is the construction punch list. How to do it, when it happens, what it even is, and what tips I can actually give you to make this part of the process a lot more efficient and easy, and let's just be honest, enjoyable, or let's say as enjoyable as possible. At the end of every project, you should really start feeling excited that everything's wrapping up. But often it doesn't feel like that. When it comes to the punch list, we're chasing down contractors, we're managing a bunch of different small pieces of material, we're coordinating traffic and let's say directing traffic, right? It really feels chaotic, like everything's all over the place and like it's never gonna end, right? It just feels like it's a never ending thing. Every time you cross something off your punch list, something else comes up and you have to call back that electrician who already was here to knock out stuff on his punch list, right? Again, I feel like we've all been there, and today we're going to try to see if there's a way that we can make this more efficient for you. I really believe there is a way to do that. But first, let's talk about this. What is a punch list, right? And it's very simple, right? A punch list are all those small, unfinished pieces that need to get done for us to consider this project finished so we can either list it on the market, turn it over to a renter, or whatever it is, right? Before we can turn over the project. And it really turns into all these small little pieces, and that's why it can really get frustrating and stressful because you could have 15 items on that punch list. That could be 15 different contractors and 15 different pieces of material that you have to go order and bring or deliver to the job site. So again, that's what a punch list is. It's all those final pieces at the end of the project that we're trying to wrap up, and it really, really can get stressful. So I want to do for you and for this video what I always like to do and just give you some of my main tips to help you with your punch list. Okay, this is something that I would never consider myself thriving in the punch list phase. If anybody considers themselves thriving in this phase, they might be lying to you. But I do think this is something where I get to show my project management strength. And this might be something that you can do as well, right? You can really separate yourself from the competition by doing this, by limiting your stress, by doing this faster than other people, by doing this cheaper than other people, right? The punch list sometimes can really just add a lot of extra expense if you don't manage it properly, right? So let's give you my 5 favorite tips, okay? Tip number 1, make a route. Okay, you're going to be making a list, a punch list, right? But you should be making a route through the house every single time you show up to check on the punch list, right? You're going to be checking on that punch list every couple of days, at least, right? Maybe every day. And every time you go in, you should be following a route that allows you to, walk your way through the project and check off item by item and review item by item in the same order every single time, right? And here's another pro tip. The pros start on the second floor or the room furthest away from the door. They start there and then they work their way out to the outside of the house, right? So essentially their exterior punch list would be the last part of their punch list. I see a lot of people doing this backwards, which is fine. But if you're, let's say, a professional project manager, what you want to do is get out of your truck, go to the furthest part away from your truck, move your way through the house, then get back in your truck and go to the next house where you also have another stressful punch list, right? So that's just a pro tip, but it really, at the end of the day, doesn't matter as long as you follow the same route every single time, okay? So for me, I would start in the master bedroom on the second floor very often. I work through that room, then I work through every bedroom, bathrooms on the second floor, down the stairs. I'm having sections for the master bedroom, for the hallway, for the stairway, etc. And we're going to get into that more in a second here. But the idea here for my first tip is make a route, follow it every single time. It's going to make this process a lot more clear, make it a lot less likely for you to miss detail. All right, tip number two, sorry. And I already started kind of delving into it in the last tip, so I apologize, but it's categorizing and listing, okay? You should be categorizing everything by room, okay? It's the only time in construction that I recommend categorizing anything by room. If you follow me, you know your scope of work should be by line item. But for punch list, you should go by room because you're going through a route, you're hitting all these small details, and it's a lot easier for you to see it as you're going through the house in this manner, right? So master bedroom has part of, or the primary bedroom, right? It has your category or your room, and then it has all the items underneath it, right? Then you go into the hallway. The hallway is going to have its own category, its own list, right? The stairway, you could put hallway and stairway together, but right, everything's going to have its own list. Exterior is going to be one big list, right? The kitchen, the bathrooms, the bedrooms, everything. Okay, so you're going to go categorize, list everything. Very simple, nothing groundbreaking here, but that's very, very important. Now, tip number 3, and really I'm just kind of going in order here. It's chronological, it's not by importance. All of this stuff is important. But number 3, you're going to simplify and assign. Okay, so what's going to happen is by the end of this, you're going to have this huge list. It's going to look very overwhelming, right? And you're going to have, for example, you're going to have touch-ups for every room. Drywall touch-ups or paint touch-ups. Instead of putting paint touch-ups for every single room, you might just want to simplify it by putting its own category. So I'll usually have not only categories for rooms, but also categories for throughout, right? Throughout the home. And throughout the home, I'll have a bullet point underneath that says paint touch-ups or drywall touch-ups. See blue tape, right? That's going to simplify things and make it a lot easier. You don't want to end up with this list of like 50 or 60 different items. You can usually combine a lot of items and simplify it. And that's a huge key of what we do here with the Rehabbers Playbook is simplifying everything as much as you possibly can. Okay, so simplify and then assign. You're going to put a dash or a semicolon or whatever you want to do, and you're going to put the contractor's name next to that item. Now you're just going to be able to go through and make the phone call to your electrician and say, I have this item for you, this item for you, and this item for you. It's in the master bedroom, it's in the kitchen, and it's in the bathroom, right? And it's going to be a lot easier for you to know who to call, when to call them, and how much they have to do, right? And a lot of times it makes it even easier because what you can do is just hand them the full punch list and then say, see your name, take care of everything with your name on it, and let me know if you have questions. These are ways that you can make this business more efficient, more systemized, so you don't have to, be repeating work and doing too much work and having too many conversations. Give them the punch list, say, see your name, and take care of those items, right? Very simple. And tip number 4, I hate to say it, I kind of ramble on these things from time to time, but tip number 4 is exactly what I just went through, is sending everything to your subcontractors, sending everything to your employees, okay? So I just combined those two. I apologize. I'm all over the place sometimes. You'll have to forgive me. But yes, that's it. You're going to simplify and assign, tip number 3, and then you're going to send to all the contractors, subcontractors, and employees, tip number 4. Again, these are all ways that you can just make your job a lot easier, a lot more efficient. And we don't have to go into that with any more detail because I just kind of did all of that for you, right? So let's jump right to tip number 5, which is post the punch list on site. You know, it's so funny. I could have easily rambled into that one too, and I stopped myself a second ago. So tip number 5, you can tell how much I talk about these things, right? But I digress. Tip number 5, post the punch list on site, right? You're going to post a punch list on site. You're going to put everybody's names there. So not only are you going to be sending everything to the contractors so they have it in their email or they can print it out and carry it with them, but you're also going to have it on site. And every time you show up on site, start crossing them off. When I first started in the business, we would get those big brown sheets of paper that you normally cover floors with, right? Big floor covering paper. We cut it out and we would write these huge punch lists and put them on the countertop or put them in the, right by the front door so that it's always there and people can cross them off, right? I know people love digital these days, and I got to be honest with you. You trying to get contractors to go digital, good luck, right? I've tried. I'm sure some people can be successful with it, but contractors are all old school. And it's not because they have to be old school, it's because it's a lot easier to be old school. It's not easy to be digital in construction for contractors on job sites, right? Again, I digress. The idea here is putting your punch list on site, whether it's just a piece of paper, whether it's a big brown piece of paper, I told you, put their names next to it, cross it off every time you show up so that you can see that thing getting crossed off. And even, if you trust a contractor to cross off things when they're done with it, you can always tell them to cross it off too. I've done that and have had no issues with it, right? So those are my 5 tips. I'm all over the place, but ideally, you understand the flow and kind of what we're trying to get at here. We're trying to make a system. We're trying to make a process. We're trying to make you do it like a pro. There might not be much that's groundbreaking here. There's some pro tips that you should definitely try to adopt, but we're just trying to make sure you understand the way the pros do it. And I'm telling you, I've been in this for a while. I've seen this from every angle. This is the way the pros do it. Now, before we end this, before we call it a day on your punch list and all our tips, I have one bonus tip. I have one very important item that you should definitely keep in mind when you're going through your projects. And again, it's not groundbreaking, but these are tips that you need to keep in mind. Make sure throughout the project, you are not just leaving yourself with a bunch of open-ended items, right? It's really easy to have an electrician do 95% of their job, but they, forget, they have to move an outlet, right? Or they have to do something really small. And for some reason, I keep using electrician as an example, but we'll just keep rolling with it, right? It's really easy to say, we'll hit that on the punch list. Just come back before we finish. Those things add up. And you will notice when you start doing these punch lists that they can get long and overwhelming. And not only that, it's just an overwhelming part of the process. You're so excited to be done, and then it just starts dragging on. So of course, very simple, not groundbreaking. Try not to leave open-ended items. Get them done right away. Don't leave anything for the punch list. Don't say come back soon or come back in a day and you're 95% done. Let's just do the 5% later. Get it all done up front, okay? And then rehabbing especially, when comparing it to new construction, this is really easy to do because new construction is pretty easy to make sure we check off every box, right? When we're going through electrical or HVAC or flooring or drywall, whatever it is. But with rehabbing, all these little nuances and annoying things pop up, and it's really easy for us to just put it off. Stop putting stuff off. Stay diligent throughout the entire construction process so that the punch lists are really those surprise items, not those items that you just put off. So hopefully that helped you guys out with managing and understanding punch lists, right? I wanted to make sure I made it very clear what a punch list is, right? But I also wanted to help you out with managing punch lists. And again, I've said it before, but this is how you manage them like a pro. If you want any more information on this, I got a couple things I can help you out with. Number one, in the video description, you will see our punch list guide, okay? It's going to help you. It's going to give you these tips again in a more, in a document, in a different format that you can give to your team, and you can even give to your subcontractors so they know your process, or your contractors, right? And I'll even show you an example of how to format your punch list in this document, okay? So you can go ahead and download that. We will send it straight to your inbox. The other thing I can help you out with is if you want to join the Rehabbers Playbook, we will also leave a link in the video description that allows you or that directs you to join our group. It's a great group, great people, a lot of passionate rehabbers and builders who are working together every day to make this part of the business more enjoyable, profitable, and stress-free. Okay, so hopefully that helps. I'm Brandon Lindsay with the Rehabbers Playbook. I hope that we can help your punch list become less stressful, more efficient. And for now, I'm signing off. Keep building. I'll see you on the next one.